Hello everyone, my name is Prajakta Dhage. I am from KTHM College, Nasik. Today I will be taking a lecture for MSc Part 2, Semester 3. Subject is Soft Skill, chapter is Unit 1 and the topic is Microscopy. This is the 6th lecture of the series. Now this lecture is going to be in continuation with the 5th lecture where I described the electron microscope and part of transmission electron microscope. Today I will be talking about the scanning electron microscope. The scanning electron microscope is extremely useful for studying the surface structure of thick specimen. The electrons do not form the image by being transmitted, but they form the image by getting emitted from the surface of the specimen. This microscope gives a typical three-dimensional appearance. Actually, it was built in 30s but became commercially available only in the 60s. The illuminating system of the SEM is similar to transmission electron microscope. The electron beam is compressed with the help of one or more condenser coils. And this results in the formation of an electron probe that is nothing but a narrow pencil of electrons. The electrons which fall on the material are called as primary electrons, and the electron probe is focused on the surface of the specimen. The specimen is kept in an inclined angle. The number and direction of the secondary electrons. Now what are secondary electrons? The electrons that are emitted from the surface are referred to as secondary electrons. Okay, so the number and direction of secondary electron depends on the topography of the specimen. If the primary electrons enter a pit, very few secondary electrons would be emitted in comparison to electrons emitted from a smooth surface. The projected area emit more secondary electrons and are further highlighted. Thus, the deflection of electrons takes place depending on the contour of the specimen. As the electrons do not have to pass through the specimen, the thickness of the specimen is of no consequence. Okay, the scanning electron microscope has no image formation system. The image is formed on the cathode ray tube of the reflected electrons by the television electronics. Okay. So the three-dimensional image of SEM or the scanning electron microscope is formed by the secondary electrons. But these electrons do not have sufficient inherent energy to excite the fluorescent screen and form the image as is formed in the transmission electron microscope by primary electrons. So, in scanning electron microscopes, the secondary electrons are first collected, amplified, and then used for the formation of an image on the phosphor screen of cathode ray tube, which we are going to refer as CRT. Scanning electron microscope is mostly equipped with at least two CTRs. Okay, one is used for visual observation of the specimen and the other one is used for photography. The visual display CTR gives persistent image, which is useful for providing selection of the sites for observation and also for focusing. So it is because this screen has afterglow. The photographic screen does not have a persistent image. It has a very little afterglow and is meant for photography only. The scanning electron microscope is a combination of technology of electron microscopy and television electronics. The magnification and resolving power of this microscope is rather poor, but it provides a three-dimensional picture of the object with an impressive depth of field. Usually, the material to be studied under the microscope is coated with an alloy of gold palladium, and then it is transferred to a grid for support. This helps in producing a large number of secondary electrons for obtaining a good picture, which provides reliable information. Okay, so the scanning electron microscope has a wide scope in biology for study of small specimens and surface scanning of the cells, tissues and membranes. Now we'll move on to another important type of microscope, which is called as scanning transmission electron microscope. Now it is a combination of both scanning as well as transmission electron microscope. So basically it is a modified transmission electron microscope. It is provided with a suitable holder for thin specimens for scanning and an electron detector below the specimen to receive the transmitted electrons to form the image. The image that is formed in transmission electron microscope is due to the unscattered and inelastic scattered electrons which reach the fluorescent screen. The electrons which get scattered do not reach the fluorescent screen. Those reaching the screen form the bright part of the image, while those which do not reach the screen form the dark part of the image. The utility of scanning transmission electron microscope lies in its ability to handle differently scattered electrons. So this particular microscope STEM has multiple advantages. The first advantage is that it is fitted with a detector systems which can separately detect the scattered electrons, unscattered and electrons which are there as a result of combination of the two sets. The three types of electrons can also be separately used for the formation of image on the screen. This type of image information cannot be obtained either by transmission electron microscope or a scanning electron microscope alone. Okay. Moreover, this microscope is free of chromatic aberration, as there are no image forming lenses. Thus the image formed is free of blurring. It is free of blurring effect, and it also provides a clear image even of the thick specimens. Now this microscope provides a picture of a better contrast with the use of electronic means. Those materials which are almost transparent in transmission electron microscope show good contrast in STEM or scanning transmission electron microscope. Okay, so let's talk about the aberrations in electron microscope. Now I'm talking about the electron microscope in total. I'm not basically describing only about the transmission electron microscope or SEM or STEM or STEM. Okay, it is collectively about the electron microscopes now. So basically defect in the image formation may occur due to defective construction of the microscope, or the lenses may be defective, or faulty techniques that you are using, and this collectively, this defect is referred to as the artifact. Okay, technical artifacts are particularly common in electron microscopy. Okay, the resolution which is achieved in this technique is so great that the imperfections which may remain unnoticed in the light microscope, that become immediately obvious in this particular electron microscopy. So they are immediately you will be able to notice these aberrations or these defects. Okay, now I'll be discussing some of the aberrations which are due to the electromagnetic lenses. The first one is the spherical aberration. This is due to slight variation in the magnetic field by the electromagnetic lens. Next one is astigmatism. This type of aberration is caused due to the uneven focusing action of the magnetic lenses used. So it may be because of uneven bore of the coil, that is, it may be slightly elliptical rather than circular in section. The magnetic field may be more in one direction diametrically and less at its right angle, or there may be presence of dirt on the aperture or on the lens where it has an effect on the electron beams. An image having astigmatic aberration shows two sharp images diametrically at right angles to each other at two different focusing levels. If it is all the more at high magnification when small defects in the optical system becomes more obvious. Astigmatism can be corrected by introducing radial iron screws which correct the inner diameter of the bore on the magnetic coil. This defect is taken care of and is not observed in the modern microscopes. Okay. Next kind of aberration is the chromatic aberration. The variation in voltage or magnetic field results in the variation in wavelength of electrons that are present in a beam. Okay. Any variation in a wavelength causes a variation in the focusing points of the electrons. So change in wavelength will change the focusing points of the electron. Thus, different electrons focusing at different levels are going to cause chromatic aberrations. It leads to the blurred image. Thus, the stability of the voltage is essential, for which electronic stabilizing circuits are used, ensuring high static voltage. Okay. Now, this was all about the electron microscopes from my side, and we have already discussed the much of electron microscope in the previous fifth video or fifth lecture of this particular topic. Today we discussed about the scanning electron microscope and scanning transmission electron microscope, then artifacts that are present, what are the advantages of the STEM. Okay, so this was all from my side about the electron microscope, and thank you so much.